Today we are going to be going through all of my 300 plus books and doing a complete bookshelf reorganization. Of the YouTube world and all who are watching this, I am Mackenzie 901K. I have a problem, and that problem is book buying. I buy books constantly. I am always in a bookstore somewhere, or I am constantly browsing for books to buy on the internet. So I'm deciding to put kind of a curve on my book buying this year, and also with me doing my massive book unhaul in the previous video, I thought that it would now be a good time to just go through, reorganize all of my books, and just make my shelves look neater and cleaner. And I definitely feel like we do accomplish that. I'm very excited for you guys to experience the book reorganization. We're gonna go through and we're gonna reorganize pretty much every single shelf, and then we are going to get into the final tour a bit later. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and let's jump into the book reorganization. The first thing though that I wanted to talk about moving is I wanted to move my Once Upon a Broken Heart books from up here. Well, it's Once Upon a Broken Heart and Carnival. They're both up here. I really love this series and I want it on my bookshelves. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to do a little swappy swap with my top row of Sarah J. Maas books, and then I want to bring up my special editions of ACOTAR up a shelf. I'll show you guys in just a second, but I want to bring these over there. They'll add more color to the shelves, which we like, which we need. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to move these. So let's take these down really quick. We took those down. Now let's move over to the bookshelves. So this is the shelf that I'm talking about. This shelf houses my Crescent City books, which one is missing, and my Throne of Glass books. One is also missing here. It also houses my out of print ACOTAR books. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm thinking that I'm going to move these. These are special edition dust jackets. The books under them are just regular, but these are from the Dusty Shop. I talk about these quite frequently because I do love them. But I'm going to move these up a shelf and move Throne of Glass and Crescent City over there to that shelf that I just took my Once Upon a Broken Heart books off of. Move this up. These will still be here and these will be up here, and then the Once Upon a Broken Heart and Caraval books should be able to fit here. I hope. That's what we're going to do right now is I'm going to move these right quick. I got this shelf done. Finally, I was originally wanting to turn out both of my copies of A Court of Mist and Fury, but because, honestly, it's because of A Court of Silver Flames. It is so chunky, I could not flip both of them. So this is what the shelf is looking like. We have my out of print hardcovers, and then we have my beautiful dust jackets from the Dusty shop. And of course, as always, A Court of Mist and Fury will never not be turned out. Just saying. So now I'm going to work on this shelf. This is an extra copy of Reckless that I have. We're going to be putting the Once Upon a Broken Heart series and Caraval here on this shelf. I'm so excited for it to finally be on my bookshelves. You have no idea. This is what we're working with for this shelf. I don't know that I love it, to be perfectly honest with you, but I'm gonna contemplate on this for a minute. I think what I'm going to do is I think that I'm going to just leave this a Once Upon a Broken Heart shelf, but I'm also going to change this shelf down here where my Emily Wilde books are, and I'm going to take out some of these books and put the Caraval series down here. So the Caraval series will still be somewhat close to the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. It just won't be on the same shelf. So I'm gonna do that. My camera battery is almost dead, so I'm gonna go charge my camera battery. We'll come back once I've done that, and I'll give you guys another update on that. But for now, this is what we're working with. Okay, gotta show you guys what we did. The first thing that I did was I rearranged this shelf again. I think for now what I'm going to do and how I'm going to leave it is I am going to have my special editions outward facing so that way you can see them, and then these are the UK editions, and then that is a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of A Curse for True Love right here. It had the Jackson Evangeline art on it. I think that's how I'm going to keep this for now. Down here you guys can see nothing has changed except for these. Caraval, Finale, Legendary, I just said those out of order, so sorry. Spectacular, they're down here now with the Emily Wilde books. When I get the third Emily Wilde book, I don't know how I'm going to display them because I love the covers of the Emily Wilde books so much. So it may be like a situation up here. We may have to figure out something when the third one comes out in like March or April. I don't know when it comes out. I did do something else as well. As you can see, this shelf right here is empty, and that is because I put my Shatter Me books down here. Crazy? Well, not really, because here's been my dilemma with the Shatter Me books. The first three I have in these beautiful Fairy Loot editions. They're gorgeous and I love them, and I wanted to display them because they've always just been, you know, sit in there like a normal book with the spine facing outward. So we decided to, well, I say we, but I mean me. I decided to move the Shatter Me books from this shelf right here and move them down here. Well, that's going to create a bit of a problem for me because I have so many books that don't have series that I keep down towards the bottom, that I'm now going to have to figure out where to fit those, because this was where my Leigh Bardugo shelf was. I have since moved my Leigh Bardugo books down there, so my whole Leigh Bardugo shelf is now down a step. And then down below that is children's books. I don't really know what to do yet. We'll have to figure it out because the books obviously cannot stay on the ground like they are right now because it's kind of stressing me out just a little bit. I'm going to try to figure that out next. That's next up on the list. Oh, and also I did do a couple other things. First thing is over here. So I did put my Throne of Glass paperbacks over here, and I have my 2 Crescent City books again. I do have the first one, it's just not there. And I am missing Heir of Fire for my Throne of Glass. It is here, I promise. It's just been in the middle of being read for the past year. But we don't have to talk about that. But I did put those there. That's a picture of Dorian. Oh, you can't even see that now. The picture of Dorian right there. I did put those over there, and then I did also do one more thing over here on this shelf. I did move my Fourth Wing books. So I originally had Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, my 2 Fourth Wing books that I have, and Iron Flame right here with my stuffed Toothless. I have since moved this, so this is an empty shelf now other than that Funko Pop, and I put them right here, and I put my Funko Pop Toothless and Hiccup on top. I'm probably still going to add some sort of other little decoration on here. I don't know what yet, but I'm going to add something else for sure. But that's all the changes that I've made over here, and I think it looks quite better. So now that I have that empty, I'm going to see what I can put here first, I believe, and then we will work more over here. I may try to put some series in here. I don't know. We'll see. I'm running out of bookshelf room again. Well, I'm out of bookshelf room, and I'm running out of room on my bookshelf. So you could see the dilemma that I'm currently facing. So I'm going to try to do a little bit more organizing. We're going to have a little bit of cute B-roll, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about what we've done next. I think I maybe miscalculated how tall I am. It is well, it's actually quite a bit later. I think we should start there. I had to take a break. I had to eat dinner. I had to take my dog out and, you know, do all those fun things. So I am probably about halfway done with the bookshelves. You're probably looking at these mostly very full shelves and thinking, halfway done, where are you gonna put the rest of your books? Because there's still quite a few in the floor. I don't know. I get a little bit overwhelmed when I try to do these types of reorganization videos. I fully realize that, you know, this is a disaster of my own making with how many books I proceed to buy every single year, you know. I just have a book buying problem, and this is where I realize that the book buying problem is bad. Anywho, I'm gonna try to go ahead and finish this up. I probably will not update you guys again until in the morning, but I really want to get this done and decompress, and then tomorrow in the morning whenever I wake up, we are going to go through all of the shelves. We're going to do a little bit of a book tour situation because I really like to document kind of where my bookshelves are at every 6 months ish or so. So we won't be doing another one of these types of videos again until probably next fall. Well, no, actually it may be in the summer. For now though, I am going to go ahead and finish up picking up this disarray of books and hoping that I get everything done before midnight tonight. I will see you guys in the morning when I have everything put together. Okay, hello everybody. It is the next day. The shelves are pretty much completed, so I thought we would go through my shelves because I did do a little bit more organizing and I did change up. I'm realizing that I did change up quite a few shelves, so let's go ahead and let's get into it. So you guys are looking at my shelf that houses not only my Emily Henry books but now houses my Elsie Silver books, just because I have read every single Elsie Silver book that you guys see over there except for Hopeless. I don't know if I'll ever read Hopeless, maybe one day, but other than that, I've read every single Elsie Silver book over there. So I really wanted to do some maneuvering with that because the series that was originally over there, which is right down here, I have not read nowhere near as many of those books, and I don't really love to do side stacks, if at all avoidable, because they're so annoying, especially when you've not even really read very far down into the series. You have to like pick them apart. I just would rather put a series up there that I have completely read, so that's up there now. And now we are at my Infernal Devices and my Last Hours shelf. This shelf I'm still so obsessed with. These books are actually in the wrong order and I'm just now noticing that, but that's okay. I'll fix that later. Actually, I'll fix that right now because that is kind of bothering me now that I've noticed that. Princess, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Angel. So over here, of course, we have the Infernal Devices. Right here we have the first book in the Infernal Devices series. This is the 10-year anniversary edition. And then we have Chain of Gold, Iron and Thorns over there. And then I have the omnibus of the Infernal Devices, the manga. And then this is new, this is different, this is all of my ACOTAR books. I do have a ACOTAR specific shelf. I did, as you guys seen in the beginning, have 2 Sarah J Maas shelves, but one has been moved, and we'll talk about that one again in just a second. But first we have the ACOTAR shelf. This houses all of my ACOTAR books. We've kind of already discussed where they're from, but I do have these little prints here of Feyre and Rhysand, and those are from Fairy Loot. Then moving down a peg, I did want to showcase what is on top of this little bookshelf. This is a little Snoopy. Katie and I have matching little Snoopies. I got her hers for her birthday, and then I got me one a little bit earlier. Then I have a little Grogu Funko Pop, and then I have my Jellycat bunny. Her name is Jo, after Jo March. Enough said about that. And then we have my Harry Styles vinyl in the back, and it's a Fine Line. Fine Line, while it isn't my favorite Harry Styles album, I still think it's kind of cute. Then moving over a shelf, we have my Once Upon a Broken Heart shelf, which houses all of my Once Upon a Broken Heart books. These are UK editions, these are Fairy Loot exclusives, and then over there that is a Barnes & Noble edition. And then we also have a little tin from Fairy Loot. This is from Enchanted Oddities, and this, I don't know where I got this, but he's a little fox. And then we have my second Cassandra Clare shelf. This is all of the paperbacks that I currently own for the series, and I did this shelf in my last book organization video, so nothing's really changed about this shelf. I maybe added a few more decor pieces. We had the first 3 Mortal Instruments, the Whole Infernal Devices, and then the Dark Artifices over here. Then we have Miraculous Squishums, I think they're called. I'm not really sure what they're called. And then we have my Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen Funko Pops here. These Funko Pops are honestly probably my favorite Funko Pops that I've ever owned. I love them so much. And then we have a little Spider-Man pin that I got in Arkansas that says Spider-Man for President. We need a web head. And then we have my enormous dragon little guy over here that I got at Cracker Barrel. And then I got a little Lala Loopsy from my childhood because, of course, I wanted to include some childhood favorites, and I've had that Lala Loopsy for way too long. You don't even want to know how long I've had that Lala Loopsy. So then we have a redone shelf. This shelf used to house my Elsie Silver books, but it now houses, starting over here, all of my addicted books. I am determined to finish this series this year because I'm so sick of not finishing it. I have had this series on the brain for years, and the fact that I've still not finished it is kind of a crime. I think I bought the first 2 books in like early 2022. Then we have the rest of the Magnolia Parks series. Magnolia Parks is not here. It's currently on my TBR shelf. And then we have a series. I don't know if I'll ever read it. I've read Twisted Love before. I've never read the rest of it though. The only one I'm really interested in reading is Twisted Games. I may be unhauling that series at some point. I don't know. I think I've maybe tried to unhaul it before. I will hopefully try to read at least Twisted Games this year and see what I think about it. I've never really found an Anna Huang book that I like. And then also I do have my Blue Rebel Ranch series, I believe it's called, by Lila Sage over there in the right hand corner. And then we have an array of different books on this shelf. I have my Elle Kennedy books, and then we have my Hannah Grace books. I've read Icebreaker. I started Wildfire, DNF'd it for now, and then I recently got Daydream. Then I have my 2 Abby Jimenez books. I'm planning on continuing my journey with Abby Jimenez to see if there's an Abby Jimenez book that I will enjoy. I'm hoping the new one that's coming out soon I will enjoy more. And we also have all of my Sarah Adams books, and also nobody told me, but I thought that the next book in the When in Rome series, I don't know what that series is called, is coming out later this year. It came out earlier this week. Nobody told me. I love the When in Rome series so much. I don't know what it is about that series, but I absolutely adore it. And then we have all of my Allie Hazelwood books. Then we have my Folk of the Air shelf. We have the Folk of the Air series. In the LitJoy edition, we have a Fairy Loot edition of the Stolen Air. That box is what those books came in from LitJoy. And then behind that box and in that box, I have the paperback editions of The Cruel Prince, which I have like partially annotated the first one. I don't know if I'll annotate the series. And then behind it, we have the Stolen Heir, The Prisoner's Throne, and the original edition of How the King of Elfheim Learned to Hate Stories. Then we have one of my favorite shelves. This is my Emily Wilde shelf. Yes, this has more books on it than Emily Wilde books, but it is my solidified Emily Wilde shelf because it is fairy decorated. I have these little fairy things from Pop Mart. I forgot. I don't even know. These were blind box things. I have no idea what the names of those little guys are. And then on this shelf though, we have my Carval series and my beautiful Carval covers. I love those so much, and I eventually hope that one day there will be a way for me to display those because they are just so beautiful. Then we have Spectacular, Emily Wilde's books, 6 Crimson Cranes and the Dragon's Promise, and A Tempest of Tea. And then over here we have a shelf that really has not changed very much at all. We have my Renegade shelf, Daughter of a Pirate King shelf, basically my 2 favorite series of all time shelf. Then we have Trisha Levenseller's other 2 books that I'm still yet to read, and I'm kind of scared to read them because I'm afraid I won't like them, and I don't ever want to read a bad Trisha Levenseller book. I do have my Renegades books here, and again, eventually, I hope to put Renegades on its own shelf one day. I really want to get the hardcover books. Honestly, somebody make Renegade book covers, please. I will pay, well, I was gonna say I will pay so much money, but then that means you're gonna charge me a lot of money. I'll pay quite a bit. Let me just say that. I will pay quite a bit to get some special editions of Renegades because I love that series. I love it so much. And Cass, if you're watching this, when are we doing the reread? Because I'm ready. I'm ready to do it today. Anyway, moving on. Going down a shelf, we have a random assortment of books. We have Guild, which is the first book in the, I believe it's the Plated Prisoner. I hope that's right. And then we have Muse of Nightmares by Lonnie Taylor, which is the second book in the Strange the Dreamer series. Strange the Dreamer is currently sitting on my TBR cart, but I do have it. And I don't remember what else I was leaving room here for. I have no idea. But I'm glad I left room there because I'm gonna probably need it for something. And then we have An Academy for Liars. I picked that book up a few months ago. I still ain't ready yet. What's new? And we have the Prison Healer series. And then I also pulled out my Defy the Night book. It's behind my Mando and Grogu Funko Pop. My interest has been re-sparked with the Defy the Night series because of Hallie. Hallie said such great things about the Defy the Night series, so I really think that I need to read it because I think that I will really enjoy it. Then we have my new Shatter Me shelf, which honestly, best decision for me to move my Shatter Me books from the little smaller shelves to the bigger one. I can finally display my Fairy Loot editions that I got so long ago now for the Shatter Me books. And I'm so happy that I can display these because they are so pretty. I love these books. I love Shatter Me. I know I really never talked a whole lot about Shatter Me, but I read the series in, I believe, 2023, and I absolutely loved it. Shatter Me was so fun, especially the first 3 books. I cannot say the same for the latter half of the series because it was not as good as the first 3 books, hence why I don't have every single Fairy Loot edition of the Shatter Me books. But you know what? The first 3, they are so good. 10 out of 10 recommend. Then next up we have my Powerless shelf, which hasn't really changed much either since the last time you guys seen it. The only thing that may be a little bit different is some of the decor. So on the UK paperbacks, which are on the left side of the shelf, on top of them I have a card from Katie that we got a few years ago because of her like Patreon. She was sending out cards and I love that card. I think that it is so cute. I have another one here somewhere and I also love that one as well. The A Merry Halloween card, just, it's so good. It's so fun. And then I have a little mushroom and a little gnome, but honestly he just gives the vibes of Nisses. I wonder if Nisses is the plural form of Nis. I don't know. If you don't know what I'm talking about, which you probably don't. There's a show called Hilda and it's a children's show, but it is so sweet and cute and I'm so obsessed with Hilda. Gnomes now just remind me of Nis because they are almost the exact same. I'll put a picture up of a Nis. And then we have my indie edition of Powerless and all of the Barnes & Noble editions of the Powerless series. And then on this shelf we have all of my what's left of my Lucy Score collection. Honestly, could probably thin it out even more because Lucy Score, while she was one of my favorite authors of all time ever, I think I've kind of like grown out of Lucy Score a little bit. And then we just have a random assortment of books on there. A notable series on this shelf, another notable series is it Dream Harbor? I think that's what the series is called, by Laura Gilmore. It's on there. That's kind of really the only other notable series on there. And then I have the first 2 books in that Stephanie Archer series, and I've never read the second one. I think I started the second one and I DNF'd it. I don't think I was enjoying it. moving on. Also, I probably should mention this very sad looking shelf here. It looks a little bit pitiful. This shelf is going to either house my Skyward series, because I am planning on continuing the series and buying the rest of the Skyward books. So it's either gonna house the Skyward series or the Legendborn cycle. The third one is coming out soon and I am so excited to read it. Okay, I had to make the camera a little bit darker for a second, but this shelf is a random assortment of hardcovers that I've recently collected. So maybe not super recently, because I've had House of Marion and the Cassandra Clare book for a while. So we have House of Marion over there, which I did soft DNF. I need to continue that. Where the Dark Stands Still, I read that as a buddy read with Katie. A Ruinous Fate, The 10,000 Doors of January, and Starling House, both by Alex E. Harrow. The Wishing Game, Blood Mercy, The Hurricane Wars, and Swordcatcher? I think that's the name of the Cassandra Clare book. Okay, now we have my shelf that honestly has never changed, probably never will change, and that is my Leigh Bardugo shelf. I have the Shadow and Bone series on here, which oddly enough I want to reread the Shadow and Bone series at some point, which is a crazy thing for me to say because I did not really love the Shadow and Bone series. Well, I did not love Siege and Storm, so if I were to do a reread, I may just reread Shadow and Bone and Ruin and Rising. And then we have Demon in the Wood, which is a graphic novel about the Darkling. Then we have my Six of Crows editions. They are from LitJoy, I believe, as well. And then we have King of Scars and Ruin of Wolves, which I've been warned away from King of Scars and Ruin of Wolves. Rule of Wolves, not Ruin. Rule of Wolves. I've been warned away from those books, so who knows if I will ever read those. I think the only change on this shelf is I am finally deciding to get rid of the other Leigh Bardugo book that I have, and I couldn't even tell you the name of it. Ninth House, I think, is the name. I decided to get rid of it because I told myself if I was not going to read Ninth House last fall, then I'm probably never going to read it. And honestly, I've heard some things about Ninth House that just really do not pique my interest, so I'm deciding to unhaul Ninth House as well. Then next up we have a array of paperbacks that I own. Honestly, I used to say that I love paperbacks, and I still do, but I think that I'm beginning to love hardcover books more. I just think I like the way that they look more on a bookshelf, which is crazy because a couple of years ago you could not catch me saying that. On this shelf we have The Book That Wouldn't Burn, which I still need to read and still very intrigued by. Then we have The Teller of Small Fortunes, again another book that I'm intrigued by. Then we have The Spells of Forgetting by Adrienne Young, and then we have I think that's Melissa Blair is the author of the next few books, but I forgot what that series is called. I think it may just be called the Broken Blade series. And then we have An Ember in the Ashes, and then I also have the paperback edition of the Crimson Moth, and I am planning on getting the matching cover of Rebel Witch when it comes out. Moving on, we have Assistant to the Villain and Apprentice to the Villain. I still need to read Apprentice to the Villain, and I'm planning on also trying to do that soon as well because I really loved Assistant to the Villain. It was fun. It felt like, honestly, just a fun fairy tale story, so I really loved that book, and it was on my top books of the year. Then we have The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. That book was also super duper fun. The Raven Boys, I don't know if I'm ever going to read it now either, but we'll see though. I'm still intrigued by it because I want to know what I'm going to think about it, but we'll see. Then we have One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. This is the Shepherd's King duology by Rachel Gillick. And then we have The Night Circus, which is a book that I love. The Starless Sea, which is a book that I need to read. Warbreaker and Tress of the Emerald Sea, both by Brandon Sanderson. Then we have my Regency and then seasonal as well shelf. Regency, we have Bringing Down the Duke, Earl's Trip, The Buccaneers, and that series by India Holton that I do not know the name of. I think it's the Distressed Damsel. I don't know what that series is called. Oh my gosh. Anyway, moving on. Don't know what that series is called. And then we have all of my like Halloween, witchy, so many things. The main one that I want to talk about right now is Rewitched. And the only reason I'm bringing that one up is because Cass, again, if you're watching, I have the leaf, the emotional support leaf. And Cass will know exactly what I'm talking about. It's still in that book from Arkansas. And then I have my couple little Christmassy romance books as well. Next up, we have an array of random books. I probably, when it hits or when it gets closer to summertime, I may do some switching, because on the right hand side of the shelf down there, that's all my like summary books, and I've read every single book down there except for Float, Ready or Not. I don't think I've read Ready or Not, and Well Met. I need to read those three, and that will be a completed red stack, which is crazy. And then we just have a random assortment of books in the middle. We have Binding Keeping 13, Rose Tinted Lenses, The Simple Wild, My Dark Romeo, and Daisy Jones and the Six. And then on the left side, we have varying authors: Lauren Asher, Mariana Zapata. I don't know who wrote Hooked, but that's up there as well. And then Devaney Perry is also on that shelf. Then we have, on the bottom, we have another random assortment of books that are just varying fantasy books. I don't know what all's down there. I know there's one book that's kind of like shoved up in the top on the right hand, nope, the left hand side, and I have no idea what it is. I also have no idea what the second book is on there. You guys can probably see it a little bit better than me. And then we have Fear the Flames, The Vampire Diaries, Trial of the Sun Queen, Air Comes to Rise, Outlander, which I still need to read. If anybody has read Outlander, please comment down below and tell me what it's about. Tell me if it's good or not, because I want to read it. Then we have my bind up edition of the prequel trilogy of the Star Wars saga. And then we have the House Witch. Then in the middle we've got the West Wind. We have the Serpent and the Wings of Night. Then we have the Witch Collector and the first book in the Vampire Academy series. On the right hand side we have A Dawn of Onyx, Incendiary, that series that I have no idea what the name is, by somebody named Odette. Then we have Heir of Broken Fate, House of Hollow, The Grey Seer, and Wicked Fox. On this shelf we have just a random assortment of different hardcovers, some T. Kingfisher, A Magic Steeped in Poison, The Monstrous Kind, Rise of the Cinder Fae, one of the A Twisted Tale books. That's the first one I've ever got. Then we have Long Live the Pumpkin Queen, A Dark and Secret Magic, and The Spell Shop. And then we have Modern Divination, A Deadly Education, Uprooted, this Woven Kingdom, which I need to read ASAP. And then we have Nightbane, Sky Shade, which is part of the Lightlark series. Lightlark is missing from the shelf currently. Then we have We Hunt the Flame, The Gilded Wolves, The Iron King, and Quicksilver. Okay, then we have my manga shelf. So we have the Snow White and the Red Hair series first. Then we have the Spy Family series, and I'm just now realizing that those are upside down. Oopsie. Then we have the first two books in the Witch Hat Atelier series, Yona of the Dawn, Little Witch Academia, Miraculous Ladybug, The Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, Business Proposal, all the Creepy Cat volumes that are out. We have a Legend of the Fire Princess book, which is a She-Ra graphic novel, I think. And then we have, it's Pocket Peaches, I think. This is new. I moved all of my children's books from the other shelf, from the big bookshelf, to this little two-tier bookshelf because I have too many children's books and graphic novels. It's getting a little bit ridiculous and out of hand, but on the left side, that's all of my graphic novels. Key ones on there are Garlic and the Vampire, that little series, and then we have the Lightfall series and the Tea Dragon Society series, which are all perfection. Then we have in the middle another assortment of different varying children's books and graphic novels. We also have the Spiderwick Chronicles up here leaning, and then over on the right we have just varying middle grade fiction. And then on this shelf, this is all of my like murder mystery thriller-y books. I have quite a few. They have to be side stacked now. I have so many. So we have the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, the Good Girls Guide to Murder series by Holly Jackson, and the Inheritance Game series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Then we have Killjoy. Killjoy could not fit on that side stack, funny enough. It's a little bit too big, which is hilarious because its size is so small, but it could not fit on that, so I had to put it like that. And then we have a couple of little tiny bitty murder mysteries. So we have In the Company of Witches and When the Crow's Away. And then we have Murder at the Pumpkin Pageant, If We Were Villains, Shady Hollow. Then we have The Guest List by Lucy Foley. And then we have the Truly Devious series. And then on the side we have a few randomly placed books. We have Nevermore and Wildwood. Then we have the reappearance of Rachel Price and another Nancy Drew book. You guys seen yesterday I moved all of these to this shelf. This is my out of print copies of Throne of Glass. And then also we have Crescent City. I did add some cute little decor. I brought my Jack and Sally Funko Pops over here, as well as I have a photo of Aelin and Dorian. And then on this shelf, the only notable books, and Fear the Flames is not going to go here. I don't know where I'm going to put this, but this is my beautiful ARC edition of Fear the Flames. This is just a bunch of random books. So on top we have Jane Austen's Table, which is a cookbook. This is the Stardew Valley guidebook for the 1.5 or 2.5 update. I can't remember which one. Then we have the official Stardew Valley cookbook. Then we have a book called The Doll People. This was one of my favorite books when I was younger. So I seen it at a thrift store one day and I had to pick it up. Then we have the Mythical Cookbook by Josh, the Mythical Kitchen Chef. I'm so excited to make some recipes out of here because I love Good Mythical Morning and the Mythical Kitchen so much. My fiance and I watch them all the time. We're obsessed. And then we have two Hilda books. This one is about the beast and magical creatures that can be found in Hilda. And then we have Hilda's World. This is the official guide to Trellberg. And then over here I did move my Fourth Wing books. I probably will be putting Onyx Storm in this pile when it comes out in a few weeks. I'm very nervous for Onyx Storm. We have my Fourth Wing Christmas edition, Holiday edition. Then we have Iron Flame and Fourth Wing. Those are the first round of published editions of those, but they have the Bluey Boo dust jackets on them, which I love. This shelf really hasn't changed at all, so I'm not really going to go super duper in depth with it. It just houses all of my copies of the Divine Rivals duology, the Crimson Moth, and the, I don't know what that series is called, but it's the Darkening and the Light Struck. Then we have a very sad looking shelf, but this will be where I house my Veronica Speedwell books when I inevitably collect all of them. I think I maybe stated earlier, maybe not, I can't remember, but we're reading the entire series this year. I'm reading it this year with Katie. She's doing like a speed read on her Patreon. That's what the readathon is called. It's a year long. We're reading every single Veronica Speedwell book, and I'm really excited. But for right now, I did want to put something on this shelf, so it is currently housing Tilly and Cricket. Yes, they are named after big city greens. There's a whole story behind it, but I'm going to spare you the details because it's really not that exciting. Okay, next shelf houses a few random fantasy books. These were originally at the bottom of my little 2-tier bookshelf, but I moved them here because I've unhauled quite a few fantasy books, so I don't have as many as I used to, like first books in a series that I have had for a while. I got rid of like a lot of my older ones, but these are still some older ones that I've had for a while. Priority of the Orange Tree is on here. Then we have The Stars Are Dying. Then we have The Stormcrow, Lady of Darkness. Then we have The Kiss of Deception. Then we have The Sky and the Deep, Portent of Sworn. Then we have Little Thieves and A Far Wilder Magic by Alison Saff. And then moving on down, we have another just random assortment of books. On the left, we have Atomic Habits, which is a like self-help book. And then we have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, Tom Lake, Anxious People, and Pineapple Street. I believe all of those are just literary fiction. Then we have Heartstopper Volume 1. I did not want to put it with my graphic novels because it is not really like a children's graphic novel, and I feel like all of the graphic novels that I have I mean, they're with my children's books. They are children's graphic novels, but these are like teen graphic novels. So I need to find like a new place for the Heartstopper series when I continue to buy it. And then we have all of my classics. I'm not going to go through all of the classics that I have. And then we have the Keeper of the Lost City series, which I hope to pick back up this year and continue it. Then we have my Hunger Games series down here, and actually I need to put The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes down here as well because I'm missing that book. That's supposed to be down here. And then we have the first 4 books in the Zodiac Academy, and we have For the Wolf, but honestly I'm probably going to be getting rid of For the Wolf as well. I want to go through these last few shelves very quickly because they've not really changed very much. So over on the left we have my Lord of the Rings shelf. Then on the right we have the Red Queen series, which is a series I am determined to try to read this year. Then we have a Daughter of Smoke and Bone series by Lonnie Taylor, and we have some cute little decor pieces on there. And then moving down a shelf we have my Carrie Maniscalco books on the left, and then on the right we have my V.E. Schwab books, which I have some new editions. And also I am missing a book because a Gathering of Shadows is not on here right now. It's on my TBR cart. Then next up we do have another Carrie Maniscalco book, and then we have the Lunar Chronicles and Heartless by Marissa Mayer. And then on the right side we have all of my Twilight books, except for Crave is sneakily in there because I had to make sure that I was spacing everything out properly, and currently New Moon is on my TBR cart as well. Crave is currently the placeholder. Then we have my Margaret Rogerson books and my Chloe Gong books. I've talked about this a little bit before, but I don't know if I'm ever going to read these Violent Delights. We'll see, but I am planning on reading Foul Lady Fortune. Then we have the Aragon series on the right side, as well as Realm Breaker. And then down at the bottom we have all of my current special editions, just varying special editions, honestly kind of a random on this shelf, on the left shelf and the right shelf. The only other things that I want to show you are what's on my TBR cart right now, and then we will talk about one other set of shelves. This is what's on my TBR cart currently. Most of this is just my winter TBR, so we already talked about my winter TBR a few videos ago. We have Strange the Dreamer, A Winter's Promise, Winterwood, The Bear and the Nightingale, A Natural History of Dragons, The Final Empire, Legendborn, The Will of the Many, A Gathering of Shadows, and New Moon. And then we have The Way of Kings, When the Moon Hatched, House of Earth and Blood, Six of Crows, Lightlark, and Air of Fire. So this is my very last set of shelves. On these shelves, I have on the bottom, it is the Bridgerton series, and I think these are the Illumicrate editions. I'm not sure about that, but I think they're the Illumicrate editions. And then up top, we have are those the Bookish box? They may be Litjoy though. I think they may be the Bookish box, but that's Percy Jackson. They're over here. And then we have all of my Harry Potter books. These books are not special editions, though they are all thrifted editions of Harry Potter, but the dust jackets on them are from Nerdy Ink. That's all of my shelves. So yeah, I will see you guys in the outro for a final wrap up. That's it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I'm so happy with the new additions that we've made to the bookshelves and all the changes that we've made. I think that the bookshelves look really good. I think honestly this is the best they've looked. So with that being said, give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It helps out the channel, makes my heart smile. Also comment down below if you guys are doing any type of bookshelf maintenance in January to get your new year started on the right foot. Also be sure to tap that subscribe button as well as that post notification bell. We are trying to upload every Monday and Friday, but that does not always happen, so be sure you tap that post notification bell so you'll be notified right when I upload a video. That's it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.